Hello, I'm Maryrose Larkin, and you are at A Moveable Beast. And A Moveable Beast is, this is our second attempt here. The Moveable Beast is now under the Spark Project Collective umbrella, which will allow us to do a lot of things we weren't able to do before, and also provides us with this sort of awesome space for no money, because we are a no money solution, and that is just how we do it.
True art.
You know. Well, I used to be part of a large experimental poetry collective called Spare Room, and we were together for about 16 years in Portland before my body decided that rain is not appropriate for it, and I moved to Tucson. But I was the no money solution. I was the believer in the no money solution. And then someone gave us money. We had done a memorial for a poet, and the poet's husband gave us like $1,000, and I had to fight to the death that we weren't going to spend it on equipment or rent or specialness. So instead, we created the Leslie Scalapino Memorial Dinner Fund, and that way we could take all the poets out to dinner at all times. So food is essential. And that's how I use the money, but boy, did I have to fight that. Anyways, we are an experimental cabaret, music, any sort of art, poetry, etc. And as I can see from here, this terrible thing happens, and this terrible thing that happens is that everyone is afraid to be first. Everyone is afraid to be first. Everyone is afraid to be first. And I understand, but sadly that means I am going to be first.
That's nuts.
It's a mix. It could go either way. Anyways, I have these earrings that are essentially little orbs with clouds in them. I got them at Temu. Everyone under the age of 30 tells me they're on point. I'm really pleased with them. But one of the reasons I got them is because I am essentially obsessed with the sky, and I haven't for a long time. I was so obsessed with the sky when I first started writing that I had to stop writing about the sky. So the sky, when I wrote this book, which is called The Book of Ocean, it is indeed. After I wrote this one, I found the top 10 nouns and the top 10 verbs, because otherwise you'll just do the same thing over and over again. I wanted to not put the I did not want to put the moon always in the thing that was shaped like a moon. I wanted some other things. But before that, and I've given that up because I'm an old and I can do whatever I want. But anyways, this book is essentially about the ocean and the sky, for a variety of reasons. And this is called the Book of Hours. It's actually a breviary, which is a way nuns and priests count time. And it's essentially it's a prayer ritual. And you'll see breviaries, you'll see illuminated manuscripts that are breviaries, which is not where I got the idea, but I enjoy time. I enjoy counting time. So anyways, this is the hours. Prime. I opens the idea of sky as agreement, construct the new, here a horizon line, there the other plane. Corn silk clouds yield pale to jasmine and variations in gray, kisses on asphalt, a decline to point. My hand tethers to the departure of flight, white stipples, cycle cerulean glimpse, cataract and green gesture, the earth and I begin. Terse. 8 a.m. scene and written under, floats onto the screen is perceived, and the promise of soft leaf and tangle, and the optical quality of Venetian blinds, and the sky that is underneath, the space between the object's sense of what is. Sext. Because the sky is a strange, broken mirror, strangest sky, because I cannot splinter off the old words, it converses. Blue ravage, the winter on, canvas heaven. Known. This prism mutates, tigered in horizon, dilemma, and afternoon's milky descend, garbles, bus drivers to wolves, fingers to scale, heats waver. Vespers, outcome, pressure, horizon, language, motion, sky, a lost pleasure, a reduction until the sky is an internal point. Stuttered sun, stars tethered at evening's edge. Indifference is the eye's bitter carnival. Compline, circles under the eye, variation in light and the word blue. Blue and blue, laughter and dissolve. Hands swim in cerulean, colors fly off snow. Word blue swims in is, color tossed in moon. I circle, a color of bruise. Word toss, eye moons, and eyes toss, the hand is bruised. Our insides are lapis light, variations of light, the moon on snow. Sky is bruised, snow, and the thumb bridles. Thumb, the color of the moon flying. Tinted snow in moon highway. Snow, the color of blue and moon swimming. Hands clench. Snow swims in sky. Word blue trembles and halts. Eyes swim in, swim to. Blue silence. Our next reader is Steve, who's going to read his poetry. I'm sorry?
If we're going to turn the speakers up just a little bit.
David's in charge of that, so yes.
And my poems are, do I read like 2 or 3 poems?
We're trying to keep people at 5 to 7 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So usually 2 or 3 is good. It depends on how much you like to tell people about your poems beforehand or afterhand.
Okay.
I believe to tell them absolutely nothing.
Well, hi, I'm Steve.
Hi, Steve.
I started writing poetry the day after I lost my grandson, and that'll be 3 years in October. But I don't all write about grief. I decided to try other stuff, and it worked out okay, I think. But I will start this one, and it's called Just for Me. Sun that rises in the east, dawns for me the very least, warms one soul to wake and rise, still feel cold with open eyes. Others rise to meet their day, I lay still, now lost my way. When I rise, I walk alone, spark of life at the parted zone. This life that sparked years ago, warmed my heart, it made it glow. Time was short, sun sets soon, spirits reside by the moon. Upon his leave my sun did set, he left this world, I love him yet. At straws I grasp the forlorn joy, when angels spark and hear my boy. See the light from an angel, oh I missed that. See the light from an angel's spark, memories so bright from deepest dark. Gave no reason but know it's right, dreams that come from light so bright. Sun will rise when warm my soul, and now I have one simple goal. When day dawns I will redeem the life that lived in my dream. And now my sun will set with glee, because at night it's when I see angels fly my answered plea. This image plain is just for me. Thank you. I really like to stress organ donation. I found out my grandson did that, and oh my God, Red Cross calls and all these letters we get. It's incredible. So I'm going to read one on organ donation. My version. It's called His Way to Win. Such a delightful soul, destined right from birth, only to lose control. Short time here on earth. A crisp morning dew found by light of day. Loved one that we knew, spirits flown away. Worldly life gone poof, loss is so painful. Friends that seek the proof, heaven's newest angel. Had a life to give, had a simple goal. Organs, gift to live, body, mind, and soul. A cool mist of rain softly laid aground. Lord spared him pain, gently he was found. He saw from above trauma to his head, blessed by Lord's love, alive although dead. Body all intact, believed this was fate. Gives his life back, organs to donate. His life still beats strong, his heart still beats strong, now beats for another. It beats loud and long, and it beats for some other. Lungs will breathe fresh air, old souls snore again. Body in repair, others on the mend. Many in need of skin, his life this was for, was his way to win. Help 50 or more. Now all can see, more lives lived his deed. This his life was for, angel in his need. Others came to see a life, alive, but his need. Parents not to be, never sowed a seed. I have others in that, but you know what? I'm going to do something softer. I wrote this for my wife. I wrote this about my wife to my daughter. She always said, write something about mom. Okay. And it's called Deep with Dimples. And we've been married 47 years, so dimples have really gotten deep. Okay, from the tip of her nose down through her torso, on feet to her toes, a sweet little morsel. Dark color of hair, eyes sparkling clear. Gray smile to share, her dimples appear. More than a cutie, smart like a scholar, a long, lean beauty, seems so much taller. Skin smooth of wrinkles, soft ruby red lips. Cheek deep with dimples, the slow sway of her hips. Careful walk on heels, like a skater on ice. My breast she now steals, this beauty so nice. Now will I cohere her soft-spoken tone, then shiver with fear the sweet sound of her moan. My mind goes dizzy, so I must take care. Sounds of Tin Lizzie, with true love to bear. Heart open to feel, there's no simple test. I think she'll steal this heart from my chest. She talks to me in the sweetest of ways, and knows that I see how graceful she sways. Then gives me a wink, I must be dreaming. Down deep I sink, so bright I'm gleaming. Together we walk, now hand in hand. So little we talk, and I know where I stand. Hope love will nurture, grows by leaps and bounds. A promising future, oh so great the sounds. From the tip of her nose down through her torso, on feet to her toes, this sweet little morsel. You see, this is real, I found the best. And so now I feel my heart's gone from my chest. Thank you.
Steve, thank you so much. I have I run a small business, I'm a poet, etc. But the secret actually is I am the least organized girl in the whole wide world. And David was kind enough to write the introduction that I probably just passed through. So we're going to do the introduction. So, welcome to Moveable Beast. As I said, our series runs every third Thursday, and it will run through November. Then we will actually have December off because everyone is busy in December. Third Friday. I'm sorry. See? It's the medical marijuana. Third Friday, we take December off. There's a sign-up sheet that I'm going to put back there, and there is a mailing list sheet that you should totally join because we also do some various spontaneous things. For example, I'm actually going to try to convince David that we should get a flamenco in here, and they can do marking steps on a large piece of paper so we could actually create a piece of visual art through marking steps. We'll see how that goes. We really want to thank Johnny Valdez and Carolini Calado, who are the people who run this place, and the Four Wands, and the event space, and the Spark Project Collective in general, which is sort of a very remarkable thing. One of the great things about the Spark Collective, besides the fact that it uses its tattoo shop and apprenticeship to provide many nonprofit services, is that this is a great event space, and they're really open to a lot of things. So if you have a thing, you should consider talking to them because they're awesome. I'm supposed to say that we're saying thanks for the Spark Project to let us use the place and to Maryrose Larkin, that's I, Eric and Lisa Purley Martin for paying the rent, which doesn't exist anymore. It's okay. It's okay. I'm trying to do all the right things here. So we are now under the Spark Project Collective umbrella, which is great for us because we are planning on publishing a series of books. We are publishing chapbooks, one of which we are publishing for Ash, who is here tonight. And we usually we have the submission period. Last time it was in June? March? There you go. Last time it was in March, and we got a lot of really good submissions, and we will have an open submission period in the future. Please talk to David. You see, I don't actually do anything anymore. I'm what is called a special advisor, which means that if I have to go to bed for like a year, no one will be mad. And really, that's how I like it. We have a couple of things upcoming. One of the things we want to talk about is writing in plays at Sabino Canyon, which is headed up by Lisa, who should raise her hand. I don't walk very well, but this is this awesome thing they do. And that is, poets go into natural environments, particularly Sabino Canyon, which is actually, as far as I can tell, Sabino Canyon is an external expression of Lisa's internal heart. But people go and they walk and and then they sit down and they write together. It's not just poets. Fiction writers and memoirists can come. And it's a beautiful thing. If I could walk, I'd do it. There's so much poetry going on, and I will just sort of give you some things that we are friends of. And most of these things are open mics because this is our open mic space. This is where we talk about open mic things. So the one that we love so much is Revolutionary Grounds, and that is the first Friday of every month at 5 p.m. Revolutionary Grounds is on Speedway and Swan right now. Our friend Noemi runs it, and it's awesome. It's possibly one of the most positive open mics I've ever been to. On Facebook, there are so many open readings and mics right now. If you want more, go to the Poetry in Tucson Facebook group. The other thing that I'll say is that, hi, if you haven't figured out we're a safe space, and that means everyone should feel safe here. If you don't feel safe, tell me or David. David will probably try to negotiate, and I might try to punch them. So everyone should feel space. Everyone should feel safe in this space, unless they're upsetting others, and then I'm going to punch them. There's food in the back. Shortly there will be a sign-up sheet over there again. As I said earlier, not everybody was here. Because we've started having some kids come, we've decided to go. The first section is more universally friendly, and the second section could be more edgy, because we'd like to be able to have anyone come in and be comfortable. And our friend, for example, our friend who came last time has an 8 or 9 year old kid, and we want everyone to feel comfortable. So if your work can be considered edgy, think about the second set. The work I wrote today was not edgy, but I have written edgy work. So, and that's everything. And our next person is going to be Lisa, who can tell you more about Sabino Canyon. Go first.
She worries me on those steps.
Bad foot down.
Okay. Sabino Poets is third Saturday of the month, monthly thing. And if you want to join us, we usually walk in about 1.5 miles in different spots in the Lower Canyon. Do a little writing, share a little writing. It's mostly poetry. But you can talk to me and I'll put you on our mailing list. So this is an old memoir piece. I don't know why I chose it, but I just did. Fruit. It's crazy, but I could write so much about fruit. Yes, when I was a kid in New Jersey, there was a favorite apple orchard and cider mill, Tice's Farm. We would drive in the fall to get apples, pumpkins, just picked vegetables, cider. They also sold piping hot donuts that were a delicious combination with a cup of cider. I remember favoring Macintosh apples then, crisp and sweet with such a pretty green and red paint job on each skin. It's rare to get a decent Macintosh now. With the cold storage and transportation involved, it's a variety that just doesn't stand up to all that. Okay, skip that. Skip picking wild blackberries at Better Farm and making my first pie in a wood stove with a crust made with flour I ground myself in a mill. Skip the water seed spitting contests of my youth. Skip ahead to age 17 or 18. I'm traveling and living with a caravan of hippies that work the orchards of eastern Washington, the Columbia River Valley, in summer and fall, and then winter in Arizona. Auville Fruit Company in Orondo, Washington, employed us for a couple months as we picked their cherries, peaches, nectarines, pears, and apples with some Mexican families. We lived in campers, converted buses, cars, and picker shacks. My friends and I had access to massive amounts of tree-ripened fruit that we dried on racks, canned, brandied, cooked into fruit butters, and of course, baked into pies. My memory of tasting my favorite fruit for the first time goes like this. It is still dark and chilly. My boyfriend and I get up, make coffee, grab a few sandwich ingredients for later in the day, and hop on the low flatbed truck that pauses by every site in the picker's camp for each of us fruit tramps before dawn every morning. Then the truck climbs up into some hills to the nectarine orchards and lets us off with ladders by the next rows to be picked. I strap on my picking bucket, finish the dregs of my coffee, and climb the 14-foot aluminum ladder to the top, the very top. With a gorgeous sunset painting the sky above the river valley, there's just enough light now to search for it. The perfect, tree-ripened, sun-sweetened, fat, juicy nectarine for breakfast. It was heaven in your hand. Irrefutable proof of God. Sweet amber flesh that melted in your mouth with a tinge of perfumey aftertaste. You breathe it in, and you could be transported to a garden in ancient China. This was more of a meditation, a silent prayer of thanks than just a meal. Poking out of the top of a tree on a rolling orchard hillside, perched on a little strip of metal between sky and a valley dizzy with life. I held a honey jewel in my hand that tasted as deeply and sweetly satisfying as any I have ever tasted. The cider mill burned down in 1979. My life as a migrant worker seems like a distant incarnation. But both places and all those tastes are sense memories that rest peacefully dormant, sleeping silently until I taste something close to that donut and cider and the sticky sweet nectar of that freshly picked nectarine. Then I am on top of the world, balanced on a ladder high above the mighty Columbia in a rosy dawn. Okay, we're pretty organized here. I've been just watching a lot of, I don't know what, TV. So I didn't feel like getting very organized, but now I see there's like such like, wow, let's do this. Next time I'll come and be more organized. So, let's see, I'm just trying to decide. I had decided on 2 or 3 songs. They're all short, and I'll stay within the time limit. I think we're going to have another time to get together closer to Halloween, so I'll do the ghost song then. Okay. So, I'm not seeing the songs that I actually was going to bring today. I don't know if they got in here. How funny. Okay. So instead I'll do this one. You're like, well, what was she going to do? Okay. So my name is Megha Morganfield, and somehow I lucked into cdbaby.com, and they started putting me on all these different platforms. That's what I think they're called. So suddenly, like, you know, I get a check every month or so. You know, somebody's listening. Thank you. So this is a song of great political importance. You need crazier hair for that, right? Yeah. A castle is missing, the knights are all gone. A queen has been taken for the sake of a pawn. That really happened in Saudi Arabia. Fairy tales or war tales, is it fiction or real? Fairy tales or war tales, where to get my next meal? Fairy tales or war tales, is it fiction or truth? Fairy tales or war tales, shall I leave it up to you? But a bard now is coming with a harp and a drum, the music to be honey for the game to be won. With a vision of harmony, with a gander at peace, the melody starting, the way will not cease. If you like to sing, it's fairy tales or war tales. Is it fiction or real? Fairy tales or war tales, is it fiction or real? Fairy tales or war tales, where to get my next meal? Fairy tales or war tales, where to get my next meal? Fairy tales or war tales, is it fiction or truth? Fairy tales or war tales, is it fiction or truth? Fairy tales or war tales, shall I leave it up to you? To be in the streets dancing, to surround all with love. To be in the streets singing, from the old to the young. The bard that cometh, the player that binds, making magic among us to create the sublime. Fairy tales or war tales, is it fiction or real? Fairy tales or war tales, is it fiction or real? Fairy tales or war tales, meal, next my meal. Thank you. Fiction or truth? Fairy tales or war tales, is it fiction or truth? Leave it up to you. Fairy tales or war tales, shall I leave it up to you? A castle is missing, the knights are all gone. A queen has been taken for the sake of a pawn. Last time. Fairy tales or war tales, is it fiction or real? Fairy tales or war tales, where to get my next meal? Fairy tales or war tales, is it fiction or truth? Fairy tales or war tales, shall I leave it up to you? Just ask yourself, shall I leave it up to you? I think I'll leave it up to you. I think I'll leave it up to you.
do this really wild song here, and I swear to God, it's not in here. I just did it the other day in a bar, and some guy said, "Get out of my way, I want to see what she's singing." Okay, you got that? But it's not in here. So, but it goes a little something like this. Shy thing, come into my bed. Oh, shy thing, come into my bed. Oh, shy thing, come into my bed tonight. We'll roll around and tussle, maybe flex a little muscle, but nothing too bold for the first time we hold. And it will be rapture, 'cause it's snuggles we're after. Ooh, huggy bear, baby boo. Ooh, you can sway a little bit, right? So shy thing, come into my bed. Oh, shy thing, come into my bed. Oh, shy thing, come into my bed tonight. We'll kiss with our noses, just like the Eskimoses, and play a little footsie down there with our tootsies. And it will be rapture, 'cause it's snuggles we're after. Ooh, huggy bear, baby boo. Ooh, yeah, you got it. So shy thing, come into my bed. Oh, shy thing, come into my bed. Oh, shy thing, come into my bed. Come into my bed. Come into my bed tonight. So, having played the harp for a while, oh, here's something's being said. What's being said? We don't know. Somebody said something. Okay, I don't speak that language. Okay, I do speak Japanese. This is Dreaming You. Thank you. Thank you for your hospitality. Glad to be here tonight.
Thank you for your music.
Try not to move it without it being protected. You know, things happen.
Ooh, exactly. Things like that happen.
Next.
When you have a bad body, they teach you things about how to take stairs. So, when you take stairs and you've got a bad body, you know, I have an overall bad body, which means that I have symmetrical things happening. But many people only have one part of bad body. When you have one part of bad body, which is my own occurrence, with the legs, they say, good leg up, bad leg down. So when you go up the stairs, you want to start with your good leg. And then when you go down the stairs, you want to start with your bad leg. Because of the way your weight balances.
Or you can take a ramp.
You know, you totally can take a rip, and we don't have one, and I am so sad about that, because David is making a ramp because my friends get scared when I take the stairs now. So, and I believe our next person in line is Edie, who is going to read novelty things to us. Edie, are you here? Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I left it over there and I was trying to like totally be that person who knew the things. Anyways, Megha, that was beautiful. Thank you very much. Also, thank you all for being here. How awesome it is that you're here. How awesome it is that we're all here like trying and failing and succeeding. How awesome.
Please.
Okay, let's get awesome. Hi. Thank you so much. Hi, my name's Edie. My name's Edie Evans. I have a book that I just published. It is called Time for My Generation to Die. And I mean that.
I'm all right.
So, I'm going to try something tonight. I'm a poet in the oral tradition, and I'm going to try reading without reading. So, if you will kind of accompany me, and I hope that you'll appreciate it. We'll give it a shot. This one is called Murder in the First. And it goes a little something like this. Come, gather your children up close to your vest as I tell you a story of murder out west. Here follows a tale about death on the range. Some might ponder the fact that so little has changed. In old Western times, when wives were commodities, blood shed by a woman would sure be an oddity. Do not let him fool you, nor tell them you care. He's bad to the bone. You don't want to go there. But go there she went. And shortly thereafter, her soul became bent and robbed of all laughter. And after he smashed in her face black and blue for the 50th time, she knew what to do. As he lay on his belly, loud snores from the bed, she took a steak knife to his neck and his head. His skull, it was severed. She watched him bleed out. As the sheets spread with crimson, she spit on the lout. Then she giggled with glee, and she watched him fall out. When she kicked him full force, on the floor fell his head. So she scrubbed all the walls, and her clothes she did burn. She came back to her soul where the laughter returned. So she tidied the kitchen and buried the knife. When the law came, she said, that ranch hand took his life. They arrested that man. And then at the trial, he cried, she is the killer. The lawyer just smiled. He reasoned, no lady so gentle and kind could commit such an act in a rage so blind. The judge and the jury would only believe that a delicate flower could do no more than grieve. He's guilty, Your Honor, for a lady could never get away with such murder. Lord, they're just not that clever. Little change of pace. When Martha Stewart did her time, it forced a change of style. Her happy hostess persona took backseat for a while. Reduced to dirty grunt work, and her cellmate was a whore, she missed her friend Snoop something fierce as she lay on the cold cement floor. Banana bread, it is so soft and sweet. I miss baking banana bread. That bread is such a treat. I promised Snoop banana bread next time I came to visit. Snoop Dogg reminds me every day, my banana bread's the shizzit. The weeks went by, and Martha sighed. No oven at her disposal. Banana bread was on her mind. She had a new proposal. If I were to make banana bread just one time for you, guard, perhaps an extra privilege such as more time in the yard? The guard replied, and Martha cried, "You just can't bake in prison. If I let you bake banana bread, there'd be a great division." So Martha had to wait instead until her time was served. She never baked banana bread, but she got what she deserved. I will do one more, and it's a short one.
Yes.
Thank you. This one's called Rectify. Do not go into the barn, for a noose is strung high on a rafter up there. Its gate will lie low neath the line of your jaw. Matters not if this song is righteous nor fair. Now your fate lies with owls who hoot in the night, and a noose hanging high in that barn. The snap of a neck bone stretched out oh so tight, a blackout, and poof, you are gone. So, now, rectify all in your heart and your head, the ones you love most, before you are dead. Thank you.
Now I'm getting slow. With makeup?
So I don't want to mess anyone's mind up, but I'm going to actually put this chair over in this corner, and then I'm going to look at you all from back there. Not because I want to look at you. Well, of course I want to look at you. But mostly I don't want to go up and down the stairs anymore. So, Karen, even though I have messed this up, I'm afraid you're going to wind up in the second set because I actually counted everything for Ev. And Ev, I've done anything about Ev, except that the first time I heard him read was at Revolutionary Grounds, and I assumed he and his crew went to Naropa University. Naropa University is a college in Colorado that contains the Jack Kerouac School of Disembodied Poetics, because he had a very interesting take on the idea of Kabbalah and meditation in relation to poetry. And he came and he read here at the Beast. And he actually, somewhere in his poem, he had linear A. And I'm like, I went home and I talked to my friend, and my poet friend, who's been my poet friend since we were children poets, and we would split a giant thing of Foster and coffee cans and stand in the back and stare at people. I said, I saw this poet, and he has an extraordinary vocabulary, and he rhymes something with linear A. And she was like, oh my God. And I was like, oh my God. And I'm like, yes, linear A. So, I know nothing about Ed. I don't even know his last name. I don't know if he's been published. He's a really good poet. So, let's welcome Ed.
Sorry.
You have 10 minutes or more. Go, just go.
Hello, I'm So I'm going to share a series of poems. You don't have to clap in between each poem, or if you feel moved, you can snap. But you don't have to snap. You just wait till the end. Okay, the first poem is called Heavy Veil. Heavy veil, black candles and sweet grass stashed in the sepulcher, white sage. On my stage, got sages, Dumbledores doubling down on the devotion indubitably imbued with the motion, no delays in the latency, wait and see the agency of the ABCs, chiseled masonry, manuscripts from Methuselah, Mater Dolorosa moving through the heavy veils, scorching, analyzing for an answer amidst NX nebulas, nearing a nadir knowing Nyarthalep. From nothing it spoke, in nectar-stained alibis and necromantic semantics pedantic, phantasmagoria paraphrase seminars, between Nebuchadnezzar and Nazareth till I'm nodding off. In new eras, Art Decoed nouns, El Grecoed echoes, and glossolalia governing the articles of articulation artifacts, carved my initials in the crystal caverns. Architect directed these edifices, then I enter it efficient. Since 2K moonstones and mnemonics enunciating nuclear fission, a physicist metaphysical filtering phonetics, forecasting the future hauntologist, in disguise as amidst these poltergeists, poker face, black candles and sweetgrass stashed in the sepulcher, white sage, on my pages doubling down on the devotion, indubitably imbued with the motion, no delays in the latency, wait and see the agency of the ABCs, chiseled masonry, manuscripts from Methuselah, Mater Dolorosa moving through the heavy veils. The next poem I will share is called Seasons. Winter, spring, summer, fall, winter, spring, summer, hollowed with the haunts of autumn, Palo, Santo, and the pain it ponders in honest searching, a static spirit from summer scorching strains and hoping for rains. I was honing it, an onerous omen among these ocotillos, those moments of October's mortality, a metamorphosis from May's moonlight melting, a mirage of March's memories, a miracle. I march through that empirical as I contrast the timeline's lyrical layers of the latent July skies, dodging Jehovah with that Yoda flow north of the Yamaloka. I'm Ganesh on the lotus yesterday. In January, I swore I would stampede these seconds. Since July, I venerate the hesitances, gave it poetry with the explosive plosives, uploaded unknowns known like the North Star Polaris, with the polarity rarity, barely breathing in this police state. They delete fates, controlling eternity, learning the keys early, QWERTY, quarreling with these questions, a clandestine profession of facade, the panaches of my ambiance hollowed in the haunts of autumn, hourglasses whispering through stained sand, soothing splintered roots of winter, at the root of it spring returning for reruns of the summer resonance, following these footsteps full circle in my element, deep purple in my purposes, unlearning these curses. The next poem I will share is called Metakarma. Metakarma. Red-eyed Rosetta serpents and Circes circulating, percolating, peeking the Pokedex, poking the opossum, playing death at daybreak, opposite. When the hot sun drips to darkness, I pray my heart harnesses the harvest of the artist, the starkest stardust, trusted darkness, delivering the Dharma, descending the metakarma deep, swerving hearses, exposing verses on verses, Virgil on the verge, emerging from the visions, burning versions from vertices in my veins, caught crisscrossed in tombstones, rising roses eroding the stones, frozen, rigid rhyolite rhizomes and rhythmic ritual, residuals reminiscent of Methuselah baptized by the basilisk long before the alphabet of Baphomet hit Basquiat. It was Basilides, similes, scattered in the basilica, splitting Sonoran seas, the Santa Cruz Moses masking the Kanaga, nourishing Nagas off the oxygen, often the nouns camouflaging the nerves, nearing the nexus of consumptions, the junction of jumbled joints and joints of the sage seduction, constructing the poetry percussive mid-combustion. Thank you. Okay. Shra-ra. Saraha's Shra-ra. With the Sriracha sagas from the Nagaraja nodding, chiefing on this ganja, continuously peering at Pleistocene petroglyphs, petrified, fossilized like pterodactyls, Archaeopteryx petroleum in the petrichor, the present epoch couldn't pass a polygraph, speak it like an epitaph. If I'm being real estates, these fates, tetrising truths on tectonic plates. I tested these false philosophies, psilocybin, the phantom of falsity following fictitious whims and figments and pigments of this photosynthesis, flourishing flowers, petals of creosote accessing Amanita's apothecary, apocryphal copying codexes and Coptic pocket editions for impossible predictions, pretenses from the apostolic, assessing how these apples fall symbolically, sonically, grappling between gravity and God's apathy.
They're gonna clap, okay?
Thank
Okay,
you.
they're gonna clap.
Thanks.
4 minutes.
4 minutes. I'm gonna share an old one. Well, it's not that old. Sandcastle Koshi. The lotus spoke in this sandcastle. I was a sand shogun, a stolen soul awoken, an omen in my right mind, but in my left an oracle interwoven. Inside me internally, an eternal oddity, oddly interred in this existence, an isthmus position between Icarus and insanity, sand castle culture amidst us. Conquistadors clipping crystals from copper canyons, carving crevices into the cranium of a creator, cracked vertebrae, so I vault these sidewalk valleys, superstitious, suspicious of the mercenaries merchandising, the minutes measuring, the miracles maybe. I am Mansa Musa moving miles between Mali and Mecca, a march mustard with that mustard mineral, motherlode madness bestowed, Atlas between Axum and Atlantis, building sand castles for my scions, syllables slipping as silk shifts underneath my soles. I'll share another older one. When I write, it's weeping, walking, watching infinity, whittling wood with ink, an instantaneous immersion with wordplay in turn as I return to the elocution and electrocution when I surge, sizzling syllables, similes, symbolizing a divine solution similar to the supreme illusion, half Martin Luther, half Confucius confusion, marking contusions on my mental mezzanine mind, murmuring mantras and metaphors, marching through subconscious swamps, sweltering deep, among willows bearing sweet whispers, billows of whisperia, weaving wisdom when I write. I am winter, a warlock in opposition wearing the whiplash, a washed out wanderer watching the western sky seek sleep. Oh, okay. Tunnels. Back in the tunnel, north of 10, sensing the autumnal comings, I came up with the cunning camouflage, catalogs and catacombs. I got tales like Canterbury chronicled from the Catabasis, aka accessed the bloodline, blasphemous Atlas, Esteban, Black, back in Aztlan, my Necronomicon, Mecha Decepticon, conduit of the future, chopping cadences like cactus sutras. Got columns of the chlorophyll distilled cosmic, polymia planting paragraphs, passing pre-rolls, gassing up, chronically mastering it, master chiefing with halos and hexes, the hexaplex, trunculus trusting the trumpets of the eschaton, upper echelon nonchalant with the resuscitations, a remnant of the west desert south of the Gen, north of 10, bumping Jadena laden in gemstones, faded in jade, focused on the diaphragm, diagrams, the tetrachis extraterrestrial exodus. One more. All right, I think I have this one from memory. Metatron's Dawn. Starry onyx sky spills into sunrise as sun rays, the sapphire blue staining the atmosphere azure. Imagine man's hues becoming the madness, the blackest Bacchus back in the body, shaman sipping the cactus Shakti, shocking me out of the seventh heaven as I surrender my soul to the sunrise. Sometimes one dies and retries their demise on the wheel of life, real life, gnosis, dosing me with the dopest tome of tones, toking the trichomes, tycho, brahi, to these types of archetypes, architect, tightroping an abyss, all beneath Metatron's dawn, photons float on past palm trees, pondering the thinking, inking. My iris's intake, I'm eyeless, interstate, no mistakes in my blindness, no odometer for the kilometers conglomerated from my silence. Marmalade skies tinged with Midas's touch, Metatron's dawn in the morning. Thank you.
Thank you, darling Ed. We're going to take a break. I have been accused of not being very good at the amount of time breaks are. That's true because I'm probably going to go out and smoke pot in the parking lot. But
You gotta get time for that.
there's this thing. Am I magnetic? I'm not sure what's going on here, but it's frightening me. Okay.
Put the mic back.
Okay. So sometimes, and I haven't talked to David about this, so this is just something I am suggesting now. One of the things that I've always liked to do is have a listening party, because when you're my age, no one comes to you and says, come to my room and play me your favorite, let me play you my favorite song. And so I like to do these listening parties where people come to my house or to the Spark Prosperity Collective open space and bring their favorite song and listen to it. But as part of that, the amount of time a break is 1/2 an album side. So if you know what that is, you're taking 1/2 an album side break. and we will be back. Thank you.
Heidi, country music is the best music ever. You just haven't listened to it enough. We're gonna make you like it, Ruth, the new cook, said. The other guys in the galley agreed. I had to like it. I didn't like it, and I thought I'd listened to it enough already. We only had 3 tapes. Freddie Fender in the tape deck, a Waylon and Willie double album, and Jim Reeves waiting in rotation. In frustration, I tried twice to tune in something on the radio, but anything I found crackled out immediately. We weren't too far from shore to pick up a signal. It was all the metal that kept me from my album rock station. I was a hard rock girl, damn it. I'd given a guy nicknamed Kaz, short for the song Kashmir, a free ticket to drive Laura and me to Seattle to see Led Zeppelin at the Kingdome. I felt doomed. My mom liked country music, and that was reason enough for me to hate it. Except for Johnny Cash. She took my sister and me to see Johnny Cash and the Carter family when we were little girls. When I stretched, my feet just touched the cement floor of the Memorial Coliseum in Portland. I mostly remember that it was a big occasion. We wore frilly dresses and shiny shoes. Mom drove us 50 miles north after work on a school night to see him. He'd come out with that crazy song, A Boy Named Sue. Mom was in love with him. She dressed up like she was going on a date with him, even though our seats were 10 flights up. The Carter family was all dressed in black, just like Johnny. The women had black ruffles on their black skirts. They all looked very serious, but he was the most serious by far. I knew he'd been in prison, but I didn't know what for. I was dressed in my best clothes, sitting in the dark, watching a Christian family singing and playing with a criminal. A Boy Named Sue was a very captivating song for a 10-year-old girl. In my world, boys and girls existed separately and rarely overlapped. Naming your boy Sue seemed cruel to me, not funny like the adults seemed to think. I'd figure out one way of dealing with the tape deck. I'd turn it down a little, then a little more, and still a dab more after that. Ruth was fond of taking naps in the storeroom, sitting upright in a chair in the wee hours of the morning while I mopped. That was the only time I could turn it all the way off. But Ruth was right. Besides Johnny Cash, I'd never paid country music any attention. It was pointless to bad talk it. It was all the music I had for 2 weeks at a stretch. After I'd finished the midnight dishes, I was talking to a few of the guys. They were sitting in the galley winding down after their shift. It was the night of 4th of July, 1979, less than a week after I'd started working offshore. I aimlessly wiped my way over to the windowsill where the tape player sat to turn Freddie Fender down a little. The window was small, the mini blinds were closed. I said half to myself, gosh, it seems awfully bright out tonight. Then I saw the orange. I yanked up the blinds on their thin string. Fire! Shit, look, it's on fire. I heard the chairs scrape as the guys stood up and looked outside. Flames were torching 20 feet up the derrick. What the fuck? We're not even drilling yet, one guy said. The alarm went off. It was the first time I'd heard a fire alarm when it wasn't a drill. A voice of authority behind me said, Heidi, wake up the crew. I ran up and down the hallway, banging on the doors and opening them to wake the sleeping crew. Wake up, fire, get up. I ran into the break room, opened the chest with all the life jackets in it, and threw them to the bleary, wide-awake guys. The rig was still being set up, and the life jackets hadn't been distributed to different locations yet. I might have been the only one who knew that besides the medic, because on my first day I asked where to go and what to do in an emergency, just like the guy who hired me told me to. I loaded up as many orange vests as I could carry and went upstairs to the last of the bedrooms and gave them out. I put one on too. We got the word to evacuate onto the workboat that was tied up below. It had been offloading supplies when the fire broke out.
Somehow I wound up in front of a string of men tromping down the stairs outside the living quarters. When I turned to go down the next flight, it ended in midair. The crew hadn't finished attaching all the staircases. I could feel the hot glow of the fire on my face. I stopped short, but the men behind me kept pressing down toward me. I held on to the handrail on the next to last step, yelling, "Stop, stop, stop! Turn around, go the other way." We ran back up through the living quarters and down the other side, and down, staircase after staircase of grated steel stairs. The sky was lit bright as a stage by the fire. No one knew how it started. I got the feeling it could blow any time from looking at the faces of the men. My legs shook as I saw the dark water getting closer under my feet. The guy behind me, one of the roughnecks, was trying to rush me, but I wanted to feel my foot hit every step. I let him pass. I didn't see the point of getting hurt trying to get away from the real emergency. There was a big flash up above, and the light grew even brighter. When we got all the way to the bottom, we joined more of the crew waiting in line to climb a rebar ladder down to the parking lot wide boat deck below. I didn't want to do it. I wasn't even sure if I could. I watched the guy in front of me. He climbed a few rungs down the ladder so his head was level with my feet and waited. As the boat rose up on a swell, he took a big step off onto the deck. He and the boat dropped away as the wave fell back down. Oh God, I thought. I wasn't very sure of my footing on dry land. Two guys on the boat looked up at me. They must have seen the fear in my face. "Come on, you'll be okay. We won't let you fall." If anyone could have caught me, it would have been those two strong men. I believed them. I reached around the 3-foot diameter orange steel piling, put my foot on the top rung of the ladder, and climbed down. I hung over the water between the rig and the boat and stuck one foot out. When the boat deck rose up under me, one guy clamped onto my calf with both hands. The other one grabbed me under the arms as I let go of the ladder and slid down onto the deck. Maybe it looked like ballet, but I felt as clunky as a big wooden puppet with loose strings. We all craned our necks, looking up toward the fire. It was a good 100 feet above us. With several decks between the flames and the boat, we couldn't see anything but the light. Some of the crew that had been working on the pipe deck when the fire started climbed down and told us what happened. The welder was welding some cleats onto the deck. At the same time, they were filling the diesel tank from the boat. Nobody was watching, and the tank overflowed onto the deck. It made a good-sized pool there, and when a hot chunk of metal flew into it from where he was working, that's all she wrote. We asked about the welder. He's okay. He wasn't kneeling in diesel or anything. He had no idea they were filling the tank. You know how it is when you're under that dark shield. You can't see a thing but the bead. "So it blew up? Is that what happened?" I asked. "No, the tank was full. That's what saved us. If it had been empty and full of vapor, it would have blown sky high. Since it was full, it just caught fire. That's a big tank of diesel, and it's going to burn and burn. What they're worried about is that it's under the derrick and it might weaken the structure." "Jesus Christ," one of the new hands jerked out from under his gimme cap. "I'm getting off this rig. No way are they getting me back up there. You can just forget it. I'll take this boat back to the bank. This place is jinxed. You're crazy if you go back up there." He stared right at me as he said the last sentence. One of the drillers turned to me. "Heidi, you know, I've been doing this for over 10 years. Yeah, there are accidents, but they don't happen very often. I figure this is probably it for you. You're lucky you got it out of the way in your first week. You won't see anything like this again the whole time you work offshore." I could see the light of the fire gleaming off the water all around the boat. The swells distorted the reflection, making it look almost as pretty as a sunset. I felt tired suddenly, weak after all the adrenaline seeped out of me. I still had the shakes, kind of like a dog that shivers in his sleep. They came over me in waves. I never had a chance to mop the floor that night. Most of the guys stayed up drinking coffee in the galley, talking about the fire and what it meant for the rig. Would they need a new derrick? How would it affect the schedule? What else was going to go wrong? A grin filled my face as I walked back to the window. Freddie Fender was still playing on the 8-track deck. He played all the way through the emergency. I thought we could have died and Freddie Fender would still be playing in an endless 8-track loop. But we weren't dead. Nobody got hurt. Wasted days and wasted nights, he sang. Kind of like Dazed and Confused. I decided Freddie Fender was all right, and I turned it up.
Okay, so let's try a thought experiment, because I'm a water sign, so I pick up atmospheric vibrations. Just posit to yourself, if you will, that you're going to hear some great music. And this isn't about me, this is about the music, okay? Just say, hey, you know, the possibility of hearing some great music, give yourself that possibility and let's see what happens.
Was it any of you? I lose my phone. Continue listening. So, okay, Infinite Games people. Our next reader is David H.
Hi everyone, great to be here tonight. Thank you everyone who shared so far. I have some poetry for you. I have 3 poems. One a new one, a couple that old ones that I've revised, and I think I finally have them. My name is David Huntington. The Prince's Muse, a letter. Damien, my love, my blood's for you to drink of, and to nourish our suckling demons in the Ur-sun's gentle tomb. My life for maggot fire, and for maggot lips and maggot curls and maggot capers in the pool of unrepentant being. Oh, Damien, your desire is greater than rebirth. Taste is immortal vision. I've learned and I await your return from Bethlehem, obedient and old as glaciers melt, and the flowers burn twice in New Eden. The shadows have swept the hills. Before you chose me, young master, your Bucephalus betrayed you and came nosing in our weeds. And I laughed at this Tuesday slaughterer, our sublimation's harbinger, spitting curses in my weeds. You brought suffering upon me. In the pain of white roses, I saw the last world wither. A strange light shines from the valley. Do not slake your thirst in the vale, but ride south and meet me in the burning hills. Here's a short one. The air as nova. Already the limbs are fluttering in, rippling from your lips, constricting in the earth. One day your arms and legs will become you. Go, run, child. The sky is wrestling for supremacy as we speak. Forearms furling, unfurling into fate. Phalanges on your knees. All right, this is kind of a dramatic one. I don't know why I write these kind of like dark poems. It's just something just kind of speaking. Surgery. With our box knife in my pocket, to that unbounded mountain road I crept, where his bike skid off the tarmac into the unmoved spruces. I felt him near, my boy, like the presence of a lack. I was here only to retrieve him. At the very spot, I steadied my hand. Just as I've passed through all these empty days since then, I let the razor through the air like belly skin. Dusky fluid ran down in sheets. Something shivered deep. But you'd better believe I'd trade nature's murder if it meant saving one heart. So with hands I pried the wound, bestirred a thudding and thumping in the forest before there surfaced something bony. I saw my chance and plunged to my elbows and screamed as I plucked that screaming boy from hell and wiped the fluid from his molten skin. Thank God my boy is beautiful. Then, on the other side, I heard an engine. Gradually, all the darkness quaked. What is this thing that wants us? Embracing his warmth, I begged, the hunger, why did you settle in my son? If I had fathered darker stuff, would he have not sought speed? He stands now like a tall angel, wipes away slime, the back of a wrist, and I marvel at the razor's edge, the engine's roar. My son has so much life, he laughs. What happened, Dad? And then he grins with red-hot teeth, with eyes still shut, as if he felt of pleasure's breeze. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, David. I always like to hear you read. Occurring in those events. Our next reader is Quincey.
All right, there's a couple of poems that I have to read here. I'll start with this one. It's called I Can Sing, Can You Listen? It's my favorite song, the one that stretches me. Oh, I can hit the high notes. I can hit the notes, no problem there, but can I reach the emotion, the depths that are beyond breath, beyond silent pain? Can you feel the sensation of falling in love? Because it is falling, isn't it? Leaping into the cold air, hoping that you remember to breathe, like free jumping from a rain cloud, the thunder. It battles with your brain, vibration rough and violent. The occasion of stampeding thought, lightning crackling past you in tingling electric waves, raising the hairs on the back of your neck, the grounds of your soul swelling in vibrato, the falsetto notes in your skull an echo. Then having this, can you feel what it is like to lose everything? Then lose yourself to the allure of whiskey and women. It is this deep throaty growl of pain, an arrow ripped from your chest, your lungs sent into a closed accordion state. Multiple notes scattered in breathy whisper. Then you are alone in the changing wind. Can you feel what it is like to love so deeply, then have her ripped from your arms? As you try so desperately to give her the one last kiss, the air in a hiss escaping your imploding lungs, you see you've been breathing broken glass, and your stained glass heart shattered, exploded through your ribcage, and she is silent, still and silent. And the only sound left in the world is that constant tone, that flat line tone, and her eyes are vacant. And this is the first time since you brought her to the ER that you've been able to look at her. And this is what you see. Her soul is no longer there. It's been gone for a while, and you regret not being able to look at her until now. You see, I can feel all these things. I can sing the notes, feel the emotions. I can sing. Can you listen? Okay, I've got one more, and this one's a little intense. Hopefully I can get through it. I have a plea to my memories. Please stop bombarding me. Stop ringing me up at 3 a.m. with a voice as vacant as wind through the trees. Stop popping up in the middle of the day for no reason, like some unwanted relative that just shows up and stays the summer. You see, I'm tired. I'm tired of the sadness that weighs me down, wet and cold like snow on breaking branches. Just leave me alone. Leave me alone unless you are pleasant like the smile from the eyes of a child, but you're mostly like the credit card company, you know? Reminding me of where I have failed and how much I owe. I want the memories that waken me with a heavily beating heart. Like a child waiting for cotton candy dreams, I want the memories that flash through my brain like pictures from a family photo album. I want that staged picture where we are all smiles and waves, and our hair is neatly combed, and we sit up straight, but that's not real. That's only what other people saw. The real picture was the 4 of us waiting in a closet, and mom would be drunk. So again, I've hidden the gun, and they will come in yelling. They will come in yelling and screaming, and my sister will begin to cry, and I will hush her, and I will sing lullabies until she falls asleep. So just take this weight from my shoulders. I want this burden no longer. I want cherry pie and lemon drop memories. I want that first kiss memory. I want the freedom of the wind as it tousles my hair with saltwater breeze. Are those memories available? Don't tell me no. Do not tell me no. Give me my son's smile as he walked his graduation stage and hugged his favorite teacher. I want to hear him sing Bob Marley, however badly. I want that sweet skunky smell, coming from his room. You know what I mean? Little contact high as I walk by. You get it. I have a plea to my memories. Just please stop reminding me of how much a heart can break. Don't bring back that 5 a.m. call when my wife answered and she screamed. She screamed and it took me 30 minutes to find out our son had been shot. They never caught the killer. No, because that killer, he did the cruelest thing possible. My son was given a slow death. It took him 4 years to die. You see, because the hardest and slowest death one can have is when somebody takes your will to live. You see, I don't want any more of this pain. But my memory is relentless. You see, I want the day I first saw my wife. I want that kiss she gave me on our second date. That kiss that made me feel like I'd finally come home after being gone for year upon endless year. I want those memories. I want those memories. Instead, she is in our bed again, unable to even turn over on her own, and I roll over in the bed just to hold her because she is cold again. And she's almost too weak to chew her own food by this time, and she asked me as we lay there skin to skin, Can we make love one more time? And I laugh. And I regret it instantly. She knows it's an impossibility, but she says her sickness can take everything, but it can't take the love she still feels for me. The next morning, she cannot remember my name. The only word she can say is help. Over and over again. Help. And by the end of the day, I have to tell my boys that they need to come to the hospital because the mother needs to say a goodbye. They need to get a goodbye from them. Please. Please, no more. I am tired. I am weak. I want new memories. I want memories that I will cherish more than I ever knew I could. I want laughter and babies crying. I want cupcakes and ice cream. I want a new smile because my heart feels so much more love now that it has known loss. I want those memories. Are they still available? That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Our last reader is Ashok.
Thanks for staying till the end. So I usually read political confessional poetry with religious trauma, and I'm not doing that today. This is completely a different thing. So it'll be different than you've probably heard from me if you've heard me read. I am part of an exhibition that SACA is doing. SACA is the Southern Arizona Arts and Cultural Alliance in Tucson, and they are doing a show called Uncommon Knowledge, where they have partnered with Roche Imaging, and they have taken people that are their employees that have life-threatening illnesses and paired them with a literary artist and a visual artist. And so I was paired with 3 people and told their stories and interviewed them, and then I turned their stories into poetry. So it's been an incredible experience. The opening is next Thursday. It's called Uncommon Knowledge, and so I
Where
get
is the opening?
it's in Oro Valley, I believe. Yeah, I will look that up. But it's also if you look up the Uncommon Knowledge show with SACA, it'll give you an address.
Okay,
But
great, thanks.
it's on Thursday is the opening, and I'm performing, and there's going to be a lot of people there that maybe are not as supportive as this room, and so I'm going to practice on you if that's okay. The person, the one I want to read to you is the person. His name is Hero. He is a scientific fellow and an incredible researchist and scientist, and he got COVID and has long-term COVID before they had the vaccine. And so here's a research scientist that contracted COVID. And he's Japanese and loves Disney and shows poodles and is a magician. He's an incredible man. And so that's just a little bit of background. The poem is called Daiboken, which is epic quest in Japanese. 1. Hailing from Hiroshima, the mighty hero crusades in a desert across the sea. Banneret from the Roche Round Table, a member from its inception of the Fellowship of Early Detection, a magician knight, daily battling the nefarious invisible, saving countless maidens' lives one at a time, breast by breast. From his questing, Hero heard tell of the terrible unseen yokai sweeping the globe, dragon riding the infectious winds, entering bodies as noxious ghosts, stealing so many creatures' breath, leaving behind widespread horrific death, lungs choked by thick sea, necrotic, clotting honeycomb. Unfazed, Hero ventured out on his own, seeking his self-assigned side quest alone, delving even deeper into other wizards' word alchemy, searching for hidden symptoms and battle spells to confront the foreboding coming of the inevitable yokai, while still saving the beauties trusted to his never-ending care. Until one darkening day, traveling home on a well-worn road, the yokai blew in, accosting our hero, concealed as unseeable mist, entering our shaman, lying in wait in his lungs, marking time for more victims, and prematurely claiming him in cold arrogance. Not unnoticed, Hero's inquest coalesced into seer stone, known and foiling his enemy's subterfuge. Knowing the deadly death count score, feeling all the yokai's cellular hooked claws and more, determined to protect his loved ones from its vaporous massacre, Hero fled to his mouse museum hermitage, dragging the monster lurking within him along, recognizing its wrongness, resolute in the battle ahead, wondering what weapons and healer warriors would be warranted. 2. Safely sequestered, Hero wrangled with the demon inside. Yet knowing this Donnybrook could not be beat by his lone knack, he stumbled to the magician healer enclave, then laid upon their granite table to be bled, irradiated, steamed, and scoped to no avail. The yokai fooling every wise knight and leviathan trial, remaining unnamed, sending our lionheart back to his sanctuary. For a fortnight this fight repeated, the wily yokai attacking our hero under his skin, taking his hair and breath, his coolness, worsening with each fog-filled day, not one defender able to reveal the yokai's face with exact clarity. His solo suffering acutely away from his lab and loves, steadfast still to cure with help himself and return to his mission of healing hunted humans. Finally, the colony of guardian mages unmasked the dreadful yokai, revealing the monstrous Mononoke, its gill-green corona shining sickly viral, supernatural without antidote, barely treatable. Even so, Hero settled into his asylum within the sanctorium, giving himself over to his own frightful journey of struggle and mending as the fiendish kraken stole his strength, petrifying voice and limbs alike. In the silent stillness of embattled sickness, with only 3 healers for company, none of them beloved, Hero sorrowed amongst the shedding, his locks lying arrayed upon his battlefield bed, struggling in the midst of metamorphosis, unable to voice his primal scream at the cuts the naked yokai kept landing. Our bloody chevalier languished, almost lost, seeking any spark in that doom-gloom darkness. Despite the never-ending night, luminous starshine surfaced from the shadow depths, and Hero held fast to the hope that bloomed from listening to the echoes of the messages of those recorded, daily dispatched to embolden the evergreen mojo all new lay waiting deep within him. Even the fellowship's king delivered his rallying cry, "Hero, you cannot die. You have important things to do." Heartened, Hero grabbed a hold of his lifelong heart mission. I have to survive to help heal others. And with his fearsome sword, elixir enchanted with antiviral coagulant, edges sharpened with vitamins and oxygen, he ferociously waged his protracted campaign until once more his magic sword dripped with viral gore. His crusade strengthened step by step until, with high ground gained, he finally returned home, wounded but victorious all the same. 3. Mane regrown. To this day, our battle-hardened champion continues his daiboken, wrestling with the multitudinous yokai that hide in the dimness, shades bent on deathly deterioration. Countless women living years that would have been stolen without this valiant hero. And even though he still grapples, as the poison the yokai left behind erodes his very bones, undaunted with every incursion, his magic grows. Beloved by many, with his fierce poodle pups, he will never give up, true-hearted, a hero forevermore.
Okay, next Moveable Beast is October 20th, right?
I believe so. It's the
Okay.
third Friday.
The third Friday, it's October 20th. I looked up my phone, but you know I thought the Fridays were Thursday. One of the reasons we do this is so people can come and try things out, because we believe in failing better. And we believe in failing better. So come back, fail with us. Thank you all.